Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Monday Night Lighting Critique. This is Mike, and I'm going to be taking you through the assignments that were posted today. There was quite a few, so I want to just kind of get through them all. First off, hello to all of our new students. We had some signups over the weekend, so welcome to the Academy of Animated Art community. We're very excited to have you amongst our students. So let's get to it. So Abhishek, we've got your reference here, and we've got your render. So one of the things out of the gate that I think that you could do is defocus the background a little bit more. Again, it's just like, what kind of depends. I mean, either way, you might want to defocus it just a bit. The idea is of how big our Desmodus rotundus is. It's going to be an ongoing thing. Is he human sized? Is he bat sized? So for this example, he's feeling pretty human sized, but even still, I think we could defocus the background a little bit, as well as some of these trees back there as well could go a little bit into the defocus range, especially because this one feels like it's pretty far back behind him. And yeah, so there's that. You could also get a little bit darker in here, like this underneath his coat could go, like, because there's a pretty heavy shadow here on the ground, but like in amongst here, it feels like it's very lifted. So I would just want a little bit of darkness in there. If you look at the reference, the light that's hitting the characters from the pumpkins is very orange, where yours is feeling very red, and his skin overall is feeling a little bit on the red side. So I would just watch out for that. Like, the reds, let's just take that down just a little bit, maybe even shift it. Ooh. Actually, let's just take down the saturation, and we'll color balance this a little bit more. More like that, but it's a little bit too monotone right now, so that's a little bit tricky. Yeah, okay, so not quite as saturated red, but just pull that back and then darken under here. Let's look at these. The value of these pumpkins is a little bit low. Like, if you look at this, there's brighter elements. Like, if you look at just the shape that's back inside the mouth there, it's pretty flat, kind of a medium orange. You're going to want to turn that up a little bit. Additionally, if this tree is right above it, you can squeeze a little bit of orange light on there, but the bigger one is just getting a heavier rim from the moon on these, even if they're out of focus. And then yeah, the other problem that we're kind of running into is the rim light that's being hit on top of the pumpkins from the moon. If you look at the reference, it actually is a little bit green in this one, because it's a problem of very cool light hitting a very warm object. For me, I would almost neutralize that light a little bit, and just on the pumpkins, I would make it like a white light, so it wasn't quite as just like a murky and dusty feeling. But that would be the main thing that I would work on. And then you could actually go a little darker in here too, because it's like nighttime, he's covering it up, and just really allow the focus to happen on this side of his face. So that's how I would proceed with that. Dana, good progress on this one. We had, I don't have it anymore. I was comparing this versus your previous iteration, and I think that the shaping on the characters has gotten a lot better. I still like, and I saw the softness on the wall over here. I think that's working well. I think that it's kind of hard to tell because it's a little bit low res, but I want to get, there might be a little bit too many, like, I'm just looking at like this line kind of coming across his face there. It's a little, I would almost want like all of this area to kind of be in key light so we can kind of focus in, because right now it's just creating a lot of very small shapes, and it's making for like a little bit of a difficult read. So I'd almost just want like a little bit more fill in this area. And then let's see something. It's tricky. Maybe just a slight bit more darkening overall. Kind of something like that to get a little bit more shaping on the front side. Just allow those darkers to get a little bit darker. And then Still just kind of looking through it here. Yeah, that would be the biggest one. And then just keep working specularity into these wings. Yeah, I guess it would be allowing. Oh, it's a good shape. Maybe this part of the wing to go a little bit darker, and then instead of this being like diffuse light hitting here, like see if like swap it out and make it like kind of stretchy. You know, hit that leathery bat wing. But I think that's going okay. You can also potentially, let's try this out, just to create a little more depth in the scene. I wonder if it would be beneficial to slightly darken as we go back into space there. Let's play with that real quick just for a second. Maybe something a little bit like that to kind of help step that back just a little bit. Just thought there. Because it's not like deep enough where it's like a mountain scene where we'd want aerial perspective or atmospheric fall off or anything like that. It's just a little bit of darkening to make it feel like it's falling back into a cave there. Yeah, I think it's coming along pretty well. Just some minor modifications, and it's going to be really nice to see this one at full res. Dipali. We've got a couple iterations here. We've got our our sci-fi city versus the plate back here. I think the plate is working a little bit better. There are some things. It's basically a lot of it's because of like the dark values in this building here versus like we're not seeing anything super dark in that area. Yeah, not as much contrast going back there because this is like feeling like it's naturally falling back into the space. Where this one, like this feels like a bigger space, even though the city is actually bigger. It's because we're not getting as much of the atmospheric fall off aerial perspective stuff we were just mentioning. In terms of the lighting, like I'm not quite sure where this light is coming from on the back of him. I would really, because right now we've got a couple of different like main lights happening. So there's the sunlight coming in here. There's this red light bouncing up underneath them. And then there's like a lot of fill light in there. And what's happening is he's kind of getting flattened out a little bit. And so it's just a matter of determining like what is our dominant light, what is like really driving the lighting here. Because let's zoom in on this. Because like all across, other than his wing kind of brightening here, like all across the back of him, it's very, very even. All of these black values are about the same. From here to here on his face is all about the same. We want to really play it up. I would, and it all depends on what you want to do with it. So it's like, do you really want to emphasize this underlight? Could be one, or do you really want to emphasize that? And then we can play with the fill value as is. Yeah, same thing with this one. We can either play up the kind of sunsettiness, which I actually wouldn't do because we're kind of past that point in both these. This feels like that time period after the sun has already kind of gone down, and now it's just the sky getting illuminated. So I would tone that down, really make this underlight sell it, and then you really want to desaturate this a little bit because like that super red is feeling a little bit like computer graphic-y. Oh, weird. It's not letting me select anything. Okay. All right, let's tone down the reds. Just until about like that region there. It feels a little bit more realistic in that it's not like the super red value, just in the light itself. And then that will, and then what I would do is I would darken the rest of the scene to allow for this rim light, for the underlighting to really like almost kind of rim him up a little bit. So let's just for the heck of it, we can make him darker overall. And maybe brighten this, and then in the pull back on the red slightly. Not crazy about that color correction, but basically, because it's more about getting the underlighting to read as like rims across the front of him there, down his wing, like more glow up underneath here and fading off as we go towards the top. We want to read it a little bit in the hat here. Really just kind of feeling all this underlighting underneath him. And then we can allow this to kind of create a little bit of a rim on the backside of that. So it's really just a matter of you determining what your main light sources are and how they're going to affect him, and then really pushing from there. All right, Kjelds, this one's really nice. I think he's feeling a little bit on the green side. I would just warm him up slightly, like slightly. And then I feel like this one's looking pretty good. I agree the eyes are looking really nice. It might be good to just get a slight bit more darkness in more like the pupil, really, than anywhere else on the eye. Just to make that pupil stand out a little bit darker, just like that. But other than that, I think he's looking really good. I think he's looking pretty spot on and very cool. This is looking a lot better too. I really like the direction you're starting to head in this. I love the shaping across the mirror is looking really nice. I love this like dinginess you're getting in the mirror. Love the shaping you're getting across here. Really starting to feel this light coming in with the glow around the eye. I really like that diagram you drew to kind of symbolize the eye, the path of the eye kind of following around. I think it's starting to work really well, and like what you're getting down here, what you're kind of demonstrating down there is going to be a nice like little bounce shape up in there. You're getting a lot, like I normally wouldn't like the collar to be this bright, but you're getting so much variation and so much interest in there that I think it's actually working pretty well. I'm wondering, like I like this rim on here. I'm wondering if we can't go a little bit darker in around the eye. I know I said, like, I talked about like glowing it up around. We can kind of go like this, but I almost want there to be a little bit more darkening around there, and then just like a slight bit, just like more contrast in there, so it really kind of pops off. But overall, I think this is looking really nice. The other thing is I would maybe desaturate around the mirror a little bit, like just looking at the top of it. Like that kind of orange warm is feeling like super saturated, and I would just like pull that back a little bit, kind of in that realm. And yeah, love the shaping, love the way this is going. I'm excited to see the next iteration of it. So mana, good stuff here. Want to move those eye dings down on the cusp right in. Ooh. More in here and in here. Watch out, there looks like there's a couple sparkles there on his lip. His lips are also feeling a little bit like a little bit pink. I would maybe like peachy pink. I would almost try and make a little bit more red on the lips if you could. That's not that big of a difference, but I guess maybe it's just a matter of darkening the lips too. Let's try that. And now they're starting to look a little dingy, so might just be the design of them there. That's all right. And then the other thing I would do is just darken right here in the middle of his head. His hair right there can just go, like, I've just noticed this from doing it. Like, if you just go a little bit darker in there, you can really get those specular highlights to read, and that allows the hair to get a little bit more richness. But other than that, I think it's looking really well. I think your shaping is working really well. Love this little bit of rim light that you're getting over here, the flanking of the key around his face. Possibly tone him down slightly, like to like maybe even the whole thing. somewhere more in here. Let's see, we'll push that back just a little bit. So now it's like a little bit less bright because the brights are pushing a little bit. Maybe a little bit more than that. Somewhere in here. Like I think this would be a better value. Just like a little bit darkening on the background, a little like a 10% pull off on the key, and then I think you'll be in the right spot there. Okay, so Sathya. When I looked at this, I love the color distinction, but I think we can push the value difference more. When I look at just the luminance, it's all pretty similar. Right, so I would almost figure out a way to make this foreground. Do it again. Like the way that we're not really getting any highlights in there. It's tough because it's not going to look great in here just because of the amount of saturation that you have. But in terms of getting more value in the foreground, I think it would be really nice to do that because then once we add a little bit more like of a value difference, I really kind of want to see it more in this range, right? Where he's now popping off versus that where he's just kind of setting in. So I think that's the biggest thing that I would work on if I was you, is just getting, and it might be a matter of darkening back here just a little bit more too. Although it is kind of nice. Maybe, let's just see. Something like that, just to create a little bit more darkening back behind him there would really help him pop forward. So that would be the biggest one. And then you can also work if you really want. I think it'd be kind of cool to maybe get like a little bit of a green rim around the side of him there, and just like maybe back here too, just to kind of separate that out so we can kind of read that edge. Just like a little bit of green so he's almost like trickling back into that green space. I think that would be good. Right, Yang. These are looking great. I'm really happy with these. I like this little bit of warmth in the rim on his nose. I think has really helped out a lot. You've pulled back the God rays, the light scatter over his face and her face, which is really helping out a lot. And I think that's a good way to go. I don't really have any more notes on this one. I think this is looking pretty good overall. Just do another quick once over on it just to make sure I'm not. Yeah, I mean, I think this is looking pretty good. I mean, there's little stuff you could do. You could make this coffee sign darker if you really wanted to read, but I don't think that's all that important. The only thing that I would consider doing, and I'm just looking at this now, and this is like totally minor. I would take this chair and rotate it around 180 degrees so the back of it is over here. Only because, and it might just be the frame, but the leg of this chair is kind of falling into a tangent with the back of the stool, and like just right when I look right in here, I'm getting just like a little bit of confusion of space as to what lies where. And I know that you originally had a camera pan on this one, so maybe it's not that big of a deal, but I would just something to watch out for there. Totally dumb, totally minor, but that would be the only other thing that I would do. I think that's looking really great. Love the update on this one. I think this is looking really well. You mentioned the floating particulates are looking like gray rocks, and that happens because you're taking something that's white and you're pulling off it a little bit. I would either, that means you either need to up the value of it a little bit or the saturation to get them off that dirty snow look. And then the other thing that you want to consider is maybe not so many directly over top of them. It might just be something you add in the periphery, because right now it is a little dense on them. I agree. Maybe taking about a third of them out would be helpful, and especially over here to the side, just kind of keeping, like, these look really nice in here. Like, I like those a lot because they're kind of reading off the background, but like some of these over top of them can get pulled off. Some of these over here can get pulled off. And then the other thing, just looking at this, I think the blue light saturation now might be a little bit too strong. I would just pull that back just a touch. Yeah, like somewhere, might be a little heavy-handed, but somewhere in there, just specifically on the character to really get that to read in. But all in all, like I said, I think this is working out really well. I would also maybe try, if you want, to get some of this gold, get some of that like gilding. I think it's called gilding. Is that the word for it? The prettiness on the side of a book. Like an old book has like shimmery gilding to it. If maybe you try getting some of that in the specularity in here, might be kind of cool to get that to kind of sparkle too. Other than that, I would call these guys done. I think you did a really, really great job with them. So take a look, y'all. If you have any other questions, just let me know. And I will be looking forward to seeing your updates, because I think this is all, I think you all are doing a great job, and every single one of you is making progress, which is the absolute goal, is that every day these things are getting better and better. So congratulations, good job, happy Monday, and I will see you tomorrow.